Welcome! Wow, this is a brand new day, brand new episode, and I'm very excited about today because this is the first episode that's part of another group of episodes. So if you remember, a lot of the previous episodes I had were Mental Me TV, but now I'm going through a rebranding strategy, and this is now the Terrell Show. And it sounds kind of egotistical to sort of say it, but it's more of it denotes more of a show, like, because I want to do more things a part of the show, and a lot of things about making the show your name branded is there's a lot more opportunity for people to come on, a lot more time for people to do interviews and talk more about success and do things of that nature. So I thought it'd be fun to name it the Terrell Show. So it's funny, all right, but that's what we have, right? But the same thing, a lot of the same things that we are going to do, continue to talk about success, continue to talk about how can you be more productive in your life and live to your full potential and get your freedom back. How do you really grab that? So that is exactly what we're talking about. So particularly in this episode, how do you figure out what your passion is? And this is a huge question that a lot of people are sort of not really understanding or really gaining clarity about, because there's a million things we can do. You got a million people approaching you with different opportunities. There's different ways you go with your career. You might find yourself in school, maybe wanting to go back to school, but how do you really know what you're excited about, what you're interested in? So that is what we're going to talk about, because there's been plenty of years that I didn't really know what I wanted to do, from before I went to college to once I got in college. I sort of had an idea, but it wasn't until I started getting closer and closer to graduation that the light bulb hit, like, oh, okay, this is one of the things that I like. And a whole bunch of, how, like, if you've ever been to the casino, right? 21 older, you hear all the ding 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 ding, that is literally what went through my head as I really figured out everything that I wanted to do pretty much in life during my college years. So that was the interesting thing for me. So but how do you figure all of this out? How do you do it? Well, maybe this might help get you a little bit of clarity listening to my story. So for me, if you know a little bit about me, I grew up in the Bronx, New York. I grew up in a town, a hood, a project that didn't promote college too much, right? Everybody around me was doing everything from selling drugs to, I was seeing prostitution on a daily basis. I was seeing, everything from police arresting people to gangs to fighting to murders, shooting, everything that you could think of that no kid should ever see growing up, right? But these are the things that I was exposed to. So I was blessed enough to actually go to college, and as I went to college, this was like a whole new thing to me. Like, I'm like, what is going on, looking around, right? just blessed enough to have somebody ahead of me in my family that I looked up to, and that sort of encouraged me to get to college. But just to show how ignorant I was, I'm on campus and I'm looking and walking around, and I'm seeing all of these people with colors on, like groups of people with different colors on, throwing up signs and everything. So where I'm from, you know exactly what that means, right? Right? But that's just how ignorant I was. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's fraternities and sororities, right? So that's just to show you where my level of mindset was at. So as I started going through the year and going through the semesters, I was only focused on the girls, smoking, drinking, doing everything outside of, figuring out, how I'm going to utilize and be productive in this college thing. And, it wasn't until my mother gave me a call and said, Terrell, listen, I'm done. Cut everything off. You got to pay for your own cell phone bill now. You're in college. I'm helping you pay this tuition, but you got to be on your own. And I'm bugging out like, oh my God, why are you doing this to me? Right? But I know that I had to step up, because it was always some part of me knowing that I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing, in my hood. Right? So I'm like, all right, well, what I'm going to do to make some money? Well, when you ask the Lord comes through. I can tell you that for a fact. So I had a friend approach me, say, you want to make some extra money? It was a network marketing opportunity. I accepted, not really knowing the level of work that I had to do. Well, anyway, he's trying to get me to do these. You gotta approach people, do all of these things, go to these conferences. But it was just one conference they convinced me to go to. Right? I didn't have any money, didn't really want to go, but they convinced me to go. So we end up going, all the way out to Oklahoma, right? And I'm on the East Coast, so we end up going all the way up, driving out to Oklahoma. And but it wasn't particularly what I heard at that conference that changed it for me. It's actually the ride home. So I'm riding home listening to a guy named Jim Rohn. And this guy, he's just talking success in my ear. But I remember him saying one thing that stuck with me for the rest of my life, and that's the reason why you see me here right now in front of you. And it put me on a path that that led me to so many opportunities. And he said, everybody suffers from one of two disciplines. You can either suffer from the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And I remember hearing that like, oh my God, what? Hold on. You know how like when you hear something, you just have to take a minute to yourself. Because it was, as soon as I heard it, it's like I remember getting chills, like literally almost shaking and having like me just being able to sort of just think about this is what I've been missing. This is the key to why I haven't been fulfilling and really haven't been feeling like I'm living to my fullest potential. So once I heard that, I said, I know exactly what I got to do. I never want to be able to. I don't want to be on the side where I have to have that pain of regret. I always want to be on the side where I'll just discipline myself, I'll be productive, and I'll apply my own pressure, own pain to myself so I can get to where I want to get to, and I can make a difference, and I can leave a legacy, and I can be successful with my family, and I can be a role model when people in my community could look up to me, and I can do all the things that I want in life. Because I always looked at other people and wondered how do they become successful? What makes them so lucky and so fancy that they can go do whatever they want? They could go travel the world. They can go buy the things that they want. They can be happy and experience the things that they want for them and for them and their families, and go out to sporting events and travel the world. It was just, to me, it was just so mind-boggling, like what makes them so special. But it wasn't until I heard this that it just all clicked for me. So when I got back, I said, listen, I'm gonna be in this company and I'm going to kill it. And I got back and it didn't really go exactly as I planned. Yeah, because when you first start on a journey, especially an entrepreneurial journey, it's going to be hard. So I faced rejection and everything, and it was almost too much for me when I was about to quit. But right when I was about to just quit and give up, I threw that last Hail Mary pass, and I said, you know what, let me just actually listen to what these people are saying and see if I start making some money. Well, lo and behold, I started hopping on phone calls. I started talking to millionaires. I started reading the books they were telling me to do. I was doing everything, and next thing I know, I was making hundreds of dollars on campus. And I didn't stay with that company, but one thing that I did keep was my thirst for learning and my thirst for knowledge and my thirst for getting better. So since then, that was like in college, and since then I've always been an advocate of reading, of getting better, of success, of how do people become higher performers, how do people make the most in their field, how do people become the best actors, actresses, the best entrepreneurs, business people, whatever. I always wanted to know. I know there's some underlying things that everybody is doing that's making them successful. So that is, that's the reason why you see me here. This is what I'm all about, right? So what does that really mean for you? How do you really find out what your passion is and what you're excited about? Well, think about what are the things that you do, right? Just a couple things. I want to give you a nice little framework. One, think about what do you talk to people a lot about? But nobody's forcing you. It's not like you're in school. Somebody's forcing you. What do you tend to talk to people a lot about maybe on the weekends when you were friends? For me, even before I joined network marketing, I did talk about certain things as far as, just wanting to travel and do certain things. Now, mind you, I never once decided that I was going to put a plan together to go do it, but I knew I wanted sort of more, right? That's how I even ended up in college. So that's one. So what do you really talk about? That's how you figure out sort of like what your passion is, what you're interested in. Also, what do you have a natural gift for? What is like comes easier to you than it comes to other people? For me, a lot of people tell me is networking. A lot of people, tell me, when it comes time to focus and do things that you want to do, you put your mind to it. And that was true. I noticed certain things for me. Like I was always inquisitive. I always wanted to learn, ask people things. If it was something that I really did want, I would put my mind to it. So because although I was doing all those things in college, I was still maintaining the grades that I needed to maintain. I could have did better, but that's another question. You know what I'm saying? So so maybe you could look at those two things. What comes naturally to you, that's easy to you, that's than to others. And I would say probably the third thing is what do you feel like you could, you could end this do for hours and hours and hours, but it doesn't feel like hours. There's been certain things that you've done in your past, and time just ticked away, but you never really found yourself, to keep looking up at the clock. Like, maybe if you're an artist, you could just paint for a long time and lose track in time. Maybe if you play sports, you could lose, maybe working out, maybe, listening to music, maybe playing music. For me, it was reading, it was reading, it was watching videos online, learning certain things. I used to like to learn a lot of random things, random facts and stuff like that. So, look at those three things and you'll really find out, you'll really take major steps towards what you're passionate about, what excites you, and maybe even a career that you're excited about, right? So, just for a quick recap, one, see, what do you really talk about a lot that doesn't really have, that you talk to your friends, family, but nobody's asking you to do it. You just like to talk about it, you like to learn about it. Two, what do you find yourself really doing as far as just the random things, maybe reading, looking up, researching. And then three, what do you find that you can do and really lose track of time? Okay, so do those three things that'll help you really try to figure out what's exciting to you. All right, so if you like this, or if you have any other ways that you feel that helps you figure out what you're excited about, what you're passionate about, put that in the comments below. I would love to see it, and everybody else as well, so we can continuously build this community up, so we can continuously be more productive, right? So until next time, continuously make each and every day more productive, right? So I'll see you next time. Feel free to take the achiever assessment below to really show yourself how far or how close you are to achieving your actual goals. All right, so till next time, continue to make yourself more productive each and every day. Talk to you soon.